Let's take a bite of butter. Oh, that is so good. Hey carnivores, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Bella the Steak and Butter Gal. I hope you all are having a Gouda fantastic meat fueled day. As always, drop a comment down below and let me know how you all are doing. Update me on your carnivore progress and journeys, and let me know if you've noticed any changes, benefits, victories, or struggles. So before I get into the video and share with you all what happened after I ate this food right here for 30 days straight, and specifically 1 stick of butter, 30 days straight, every single day. And actually most of those days I was eating a lot more than 1 stick of butter, sometimes 2 sticks of butter. I have so many observations, results, findings. Before I get into all of it, I just want to say a huge thank you for 100,000 subscribers. Thank you to each and every one of you for your support, for your love, and for always coming back to my channel to watch my videos, to comment. Thank you to everyone who clicked subscribe to my channel. You have no idea how big of an impact you have made in my life. I just feel so grateful and so lucky to be able to share my carnivore journey, my own progress, experiments. So thank you again for supporting me through every step of this journey. In return, to show you guys how much I love you all and how grateful I am for all of your support, I will be hosting an epic giveaway. I'm currently in the works of setting up the giveaway and the prizes and the number of winners, but to really stay up to date, I highly recommend you guys follow me on Instagram at Steak and Butter Gal, because I'll be sharing all of the details for that giveaway on Instagram. Of course, I'll also share it here on YouTube, but you will have a higher chance of winning if you follow me on Instagram as well. So once again, thank you SB fam for 100K. Let's cheers to that. I have some iced sparkling water just to make a toast to continued health, happiness, and joy. Let's take a bite of butter. Ooh. That aftertaste of butter is so good. There is something about butter that really changes your mood and calms you down literally instantaneously. I'll get into that more. But I think the taste of butter is just one of the best things about the carnivore diet. Butter, butter, butter. I love you so much. So first things first, how much exactly is a stick of butter? So I have this block of truly grass-fed butter, and it says it is 8 ounces, 227 grams. So 1 stick of butter would be half of this block, but there have been many days during the 30-day experiment where I ate this entire block. But just to break it down for you guys, because I get asked this a lot, 1 stick of butter is 4 ounces or 113 grams of pure animal fat. And a whole block or 2 sticks of butter would be double that, 227 grams, which is 8 ounces. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering, why did I want to do this? Why did I want to eat 1 stick of butter a day for 30 days? My biggest inspiration to do this was actually Dr. Elizabeth Bright. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are not surprised because I've now filmed 2 videos featuring Dr. Bright and focusing on the high-fat carnivore lifestyle. If you guys have not watched those 2 videos, I'll link it down below in the description box because Dr. Bright explains it beautifully why you should consider eating more animal fats. Does it have have to be butter? Obviously not. I know a lot of my sensitive carnivores cannot tolerate butter. It gives them sensitivities, allergies, reactions, and that is okay. Tallow is just pure beef fat, and this is a great option, probably the most gentle option for my sensitive carnivores who either have autoimmune issues that they are healing or who just cannot tolerate the small amounts of lactose in butter. Another option is ghee. Ghee is an excellent option that is most similar to butter. It has that milky, creamy flavor, but it is clarified butter. And ghee is also great because you can cook it at really high temperatures. So I usually use ghee as a cooking oil whenever I want to scramble up some eggs or make a delicious omelet. Ghee is perfect because it can really be cooked at high temperatures without burning. So how was I able to implement 113 grams of butter every single day? I actually found it quite simple because I leaned on the hack of snacking it as a cold fat snack. So basically all throughout the day, every single day for the past 30 days, I would just take it out of my fridge and snack on it alone, straight up pure butter as a snack. And that to a lot of people is insane. It is crazy. Whenever I post that in my stories on Instagram or in my reels, I will always get comments and DMs asking, how could you possibly do this to yourself? Or she's gonna have a heart attack soon. And I will go over my cholesterol numbers just to prove to you guys that I will not be having a heart attack anytime soon, even when I'm eating 113 to 227 grams of butter every single day. So let's take a look at my cholesterol numbers real quick. I've even put it side by side with my numbers from when I was on the vegan diet. The true markers of heart health are HDL and triglycerides, specifically your triglyceride to HDL ratio, as stated in this awesome article. You guys can take a look at this full article by clicking on the link down below in the description box if you guys want to learn more about calculating your triglyceride to HDL ratio. So to summarize, ideally you want your HDL to be above 70 and your triglycerides to be below 70. And if you take a look at my carnivore numbers, you can see just how drastically improved they got. I have a 98 for my HDL and my triglycerides are 15. Even my doctor was incredibly impressed with how low my triglycerides are. So there you go. I'm not going to have a heart attack. I also topped it on all of my meals, and I like to enjoy butter cold, chilled, or at least solid room temperature. I personally just prefer the mouthfeel and the flavor of solid cold butter. And also keep in mind, I've been carnivore for almost 4 years now. I've always eaten a very high-fat carnivore diet since day one. And before I was carnivore, I was actually struggling with a lot of health concerns, lots of skin issues, and I'll put up photos of my progress, especially for those who are new to this channel. And when I first started the carnivore diet, I did not know who Dr. Elizabeth Bright was. I didn't know that there was this protocol of eating 1 stick of butter a day. But for some reason, my body literally craved, screamed out for butter every single day the moment I started eating animal foods. It was literally guiding me and telling me just how much fat I needed. So I personally do feel very lucky that I had such strong signals from my body when I first started. I also want to share that when I first started the carnivore diet, I didn't have a cycle at all. And that was due to 6 years of eating the vegan diet before that. I completely wrecked my hormones. No matter how much I ate, I was still hungry. I was struggling with bloating, digestion issues. My skin was not getting better. My first carnivore meal was actually scrambled eggs with butter, and I still remember to this day how I felt upon eating those first bites of animal foods. After 6 years of not eating it, it literally felt like I was coming back to life, and it was truly instantaneous, the benefits and the changes in how I felt in that moment. So I kind of just went with the flow when I first started carnivore, although I did struggle with weight gain. And this is another thing that I hear from the carnivore community, especially women when they first start the carnivore diet. And hopefully me sharing my experience about my weight gain will give you guys hope or some type of perspective to keep you guys going on your carnivore journeys. I experienced this ravenous hunger, and I couldn't stop thinking about eating more butter, more fatty meats. I literally felt this voice inside of me guiding me and screaming for more animal fats. At the same time, it was very scary because I honestly felt like no matter how much I ate, I would never be full. I would never be able to stop eating. I definitely felt my clothes were getting tighter. I was practically eating 5 meals a day, 5 pounds of steak, and with all of that too, 1 to 2 sticks of butter. But after 4 years of being in the carnivore community, I really feel like this tends to happen to women who have a lot to heal, who have had a history of yo-yo dieting, of restricting, of binging, definitely to those who were on the plant-based, vegan, vegetarian diet. I find especially for women like that, we just have to go through that temporary weight gain to really balance the hormones, to heal everything we need to, and to relearn our body's signals, our hunger signals. So just to give you guys a quick summary of my first 6 months of carnivore, eating 1 to 2 sticks of butter every single day, I brought back my cycle within the first 2 to 3 months. So that was probably the biggest victory. And to this day, I still have a normal, healthy cycle. My skin took a little bit longer for me to see and feel drastic improvements, but I struggled with rosacea, acne, and eczema, and that all got better as well. I saw noticeable improvements and benefits after 6 months of consistent high-fat carnivore eating. And I think with skin, it just takes a little bit longer to heal and to see improvements. One of my favorite benefits of eating butter is I don't have sugar cravings. I feel this sense of freedom from food. And before going carnivore, I literally felt like I was a slave to food. I was chained to eating, to thinking about food 24/7. I'm not sure if you guys ever had this type of experience, but I would literally be eating my meal, and while eating that meal, I would be planning what I will be cooking for my next meal. So there was never a moment where I could just 100% focus on something, anything besides food, the act of eating, cooking, what to eat next, what I should buy next for my grocery list. Like, I was just obsessed with food, and I did not feel any sense of freedom from food at all until I started eating high-fat carnivore. So I personally feel this incredible sensation of satiation when I eat pure animal fats. And just know, whenever I mention butter, it can easily be replaced with any animal fat. Beef fat, tallow, ghee, just straight up fatty meats. The fat in meat is just as beneficial. So apologies if you didn't want to hear about my initial phase of high fat, eating a lot of butter every single day when I first started carnivore. Now let's focus on the past 30 days. So here's what I implemented the past 30 days, which I feel like is quite different. I usually eat OMAD or 2MAD, 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day. And I typically will eat 2 meals a day during the week leading up to my period and all throughout my period. Why? Because my appetite tends to increase and I start wanting more fat than usual. So I just listen to my body. I feed it what it wants. I want to just focus on nourishing my body, making my hormones as happy as possible. So during that time of the month, I will be eating 2 meals a day. And the rest of the month, I'll eat 1 meal a day. I typically eat my 1 meal a day early evening. Some days when I'm working long days, I will eat a little bit later, but I like to eat in the evening just because I enjoy the mental clarity of being fasted. Now, during the past 30 days, I actually incorporated a lot of fat fasting. Now, it's not the type of fat fasting that most people think about when fat fasting is brought up. I actually incorporated fat fasting where it was super gentle and doable. So on the days where I ate OMAD, 1 meal a day, and that 1 meal would be around evening, like 5, 6 p.m. The whole day before eating that meal, I would be fat fasting. So I would be eating nothing but pure fat. And when you eat pure fat like butter, tallow, ghee, lard throughout the day, that does not break your fast. So you still get to feel all of the benefits of fasting, but it is so gentle on your body. It is still so nourishing for your hormones, and you won't risk the chance of pushing it with your fasts. For all of the days where I did OMAD, all throughout the day before I sat down to eat that delicious fatty meal, I would be snacking on butter throughout the day. I just ended up eating pure butter, and again, butter straight out of the fridge as a fat snack about 2 times throughout the day. And I'll put up a bunch of footage showing you guys how I would eat it, and it's really so simple. I've been absolutely loving this Truly butter, which I picked up for just $2.19 at my local grocery store. It's so much cheaper than my other favorite, Vital Farms butter, but I just love eating my butter cold, and I have it as fat snacks throughout each day. For each of those fat snack moments, I would be eating about 1/3 of a stick of butter. Sometimes it ended up being a half a stick of butter because I just kept snacking on it. It was delicious. I wanted more, and I would stop snacking on that butter when the butter stopped tasting appetizing. So that's a really simple way to understand how much butter you should be eating. If you guys want to do this experiment too, really pay attention to how your taste buds react to that first bite of cold butter or room temperature butter. For me, after 3 to 4 bites, my taste buds didn't feel as stimulated and enticed. It didn't feel like it was like dancing and partying whenever I put that butter in my mouth. Another sign is when you start feeling a little bit of nausea, or you're like, ooh, this feels rich and dense. That's another sure sign that you've had enough fat. So again, I would do 2 of those cold butter fat snacks throughout the day and end my day with a delicious, fatty, proper carnivore meal. And during that carnivore meal, I would be topping even more cold butter on all of the meats that I cook up. I would be using the ghee to cook up any eggs that I may have cooked up, like scrambled eggs, omelets. I love eating my meat with a side of eggs. So there's almost always more animal fat in my egg dishes as well. And there's also fat in my fatty meats. So after each day of eating, not only have I fulfilled that 1 stick of butter a day goal, so 113 grams, but on top of that, I also have the fat in my meats, the ghee in my eggs. So I probably ate about 180 plus grams of fat every single day for the past 30 days. I have all of the most noticeable results on my phone, so I'll be going through each of the points that I listed. First, my mood. I noticed my mood was very stable, and I felt my mood was the calmest and most sedated almost when I was having those pure fat snacks. Like Dr. Bright always says, when you eat animal fats, you are literally lowering and stabilizing your cortisol, and I physically felt that with my mood. That's why I time my cold butter snacks during the moments where I may be a little bit higher stress. So let's say I'm about to host a whole day of meetings. Right before I jump on that first meeting, I will be eating my first cold butter fat snack. And that really helped stabilize my mood. For those who are also playing with high fat or eating more butter, I would love to know if you also experience that. It's almost like an instantaneous calming technique, and I'm sure that I feel it so strongly physically and mentally because my cortisol is literally being stabilized and smoothed out. If you want to hear more about the impacts of butter on cortisol, I highly recommend you check out my part 2 video with Dr. Bright, because she speaks very in depth about just how impactful and beneficial animal fats are for our cortisol levels. And I did want to share with you guys that I have developed a new fat fasting protocol with Coach Raymond and Coach Emily, and we will be teaching it in the December 30-day Carnivore Challenge. We will be having weekly hour-long live Zoom calls teaching you all how to start implementing fat fasting, and we will be giving out weekly fat fasting schedules for everyone to follow along. And in addition to having access to the new weekly fat fasting calls and schedules, you will also have access to the guest speaker Q&As featuring all of the beautiful faces shown on the screen. Please note that these guest panels change every single month. So if you really want to learn from any of the brilliant minds shown on the screen, I would take advantage of the December challenge. Please note that Dr. Elizabeth Bright herself will be visiting as a guest speaker as well. If you guys want to read more on what's included in the December challenge, you guys can go to sbgmeetup.com. It is also a fantastic community where you can get the support, accountability, and coaches guidance you need to start the carnivore diet, to stick to the carnivore lifestyle, and to troubleshoot and tweak anything if you're more of an experienced carnivore. Okay, next thing all the butter really impacted was my sleep. So quality of sleep and the length of sleep that I needed. Now, I personally am a night owl. I tend to sleep at like 1 or 2 a.m. That's when I feel my most productive and efficient. But when I started having more butter, I wanted to sleep earlier. And when I sleep earlier, I obviously get to wake up earlier. So I do feel like eating more fat really resets our circadian rhythm. I didn't have to force myself to sleep earlier. I just started feeling calmer, ready to unwind, and ready to go to bed about 3 to 4 hours before I usually sleep. I just felt that natural urge to want to unwind and go to bed fall asleep at around 10 or 11 p.m. as opposed to my usual 1 or 2 a.m. By the way, no, I did not need more sleep than usual eating all of this fat. By going to bed earlier, I feel like I got even better quality sleep. And when I have very good quality sleep, I don't need as much of it. So I do feel like eating more butter kind of amplified the quality of my sleep, and it helped me sleep earlier. Plus, I didn't need to sleep as long. For me, 8 to 9 hours of sleep is optimal, and I've always been a big sleeper. But the past 30 days on eating so much extra butter, I felt like I didn't need to sleep as much. And here's something else that I noticed. I would be fat fasting throughout the days, right? And when I'm eating all that butter throughout the day as fat snacks, at the very end of the day, when I cook up my fatty carnivore proper meal, I actually did not need to eat as much fatty meat as I usually would need when I was not fat fasting. So before this 30-day experiment, I would typically eat 2 to 2.5 pounds of meat, and comparing it to this past 30 days where I did the fat fasting throughout the day, and at night when I did sit down to eat meat, I definitely noticed I only needed 1 to 1.5 pounds of meat. And the first thing that I was happy about when I observed that was, oh yay, I get to save money and I get to make the meat that I buy with my weekly grocery trips last even longer. So in a way, that's also another great hack. If you need to be on a budget, up your fats, because there is nothing more satiating and calming as pure animal fats. Whether it be butter, tallow, ghee, lard, suet, just really focus on eating fat throughout the day. You can really load up on that satiation feeling just by eating pure fat before you eat your precious meats. Quick break, I just wanted to feature a quote that I love so much in Dr. Elizabeth Bright's book. It doesn't matter what age you are, what stage in life you are, this book is life-changing. So I just wanted to read a couple sentences that I love so much. Fat is what keeps you up. The fat you eat keeps your body stable. It turns off the cortisol reaction and bridges the gap between the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. Just look at what fat does for the body. It makes cells grow and creates new ones. It organizes them into tissues and organs. It activates adrenaline, turns on the immune system, and turns off autoimmune reactions. It synthesizes serotonin, eliminates toxins, and it makes adrenal cortex hormones, thyroid hormones, testosterone, estrogen, and vitamin D. After reading that paragraph, how can you not want to feed your body more fat? And speaking of hormones and balancing thyroid hormones, estrogen, testosterone, I do have to touch on the impacts that I have felt with my cycle. So for the gentlemen who are watching, if you don't like to hear about female talk, you can skip the next few minutes. So first, some background. I got my cycle back after not having it for 2 years within just 3 months of eating as much as I wanted on the carnivore diet. And it really shocked me, the fact that I got my period back so quickly. But I really do, again, credit it to eating 1 to 2 sticks of butter every single day when I first started carnivore. And on top of that, I ate up to 5 meals every single day. I was always loading up on food, nutrition, energy to really promote that quick healing, to make my body feel comfortable to bring back my cycle. However, when my cycle came back, it did not stay regular. There were months where it came extra early, and there were other months where it came very late. And that's another thing that I hear a lot about with females who start the carnivore diet, is that their cycles start being a little bit off, a little bit irregular. As long as you're eating enough fat and enough meat in general, I would just give it more time. I would give it at least another 3 months to make sure it has the time it needs to rebalance for your pain, your usual cramps to slowly, gradually go away. The past 30 days, no pain, no headaches at all. My flow was actually quite light. And for me, the first 2 days is when it's heaviest. And again, sorry if it's TMI, but my first 2 days would be at its heaviest. And then the 3rd, 4th day would be very light. 5th day would be so minimal. My period this past month's experiment was only 5 days long. Oh, and I did not experience an increase in appetite at all. I had very stable, similar levels of appetite all throughout the month. So that's another interesting observation restriction. I think when you're always feeding your body animal fats throughout the day, every single day, your body doesn't have to go through those spikes and dips, even when they're minimal, of appetite. And again, that could be translated from stable cortisol levels, where there is really no dramatic spikes and dips in cortisol. That is something that Dr. Bright really advocates, is to really lean on the animal fats, eat it throughout the day to keep that cortisol level nice and stable. Another interesting thing that I did want to highlight from my second interview with Dr. Bright is utilizing butter or any animal fats right before bed to promote better sleep and to help you fall asleep. So I really want to stress that, especially for those who are struggling with sleep. If you're struggling with falling asleep, really try experimenting with eating butter right before going to bed. And I would say about 30 minutes to 1 hour before you are ready to go to sleep, try having a couple bites of butter. It doesn't have to be chilled. It doesn't even have to be butter, just pure animal fat to really trigger your body to relax and unwind, stabilize that cortisol, and to get your body ready to go to sleep. If you're someone who wakes up in the middle of the night and you have trouble falling back asleep, keep butter at your bedside table and take a bite of butter when you wake up to help you fall back asleep. I would absolutely love to know your updates and your findings. If you're experimenting with this currently, let me know if it helps and what impacts you have felt. Lean on electrolytes. You can all first start off by just salting heavier on all of your meals. And if you still feel like you need more electrolytes, I highly recommend this brand, Element Electrolytes, for their high quality and clean ingredients. So the one that I'm sharing is the raw unflavored version, which means there is no artificial flavorings, no stevia, nothing but the 3 electrolytes on the box. So you get it measured out in the right quantities, and you get 30 sticks of their electrolytes. The electrolyte packets are nice and small. You can throw it in your work bag, backpack, and just put it in whatever beverage you're drinking. Electrolytes are also very important if you are very active. It really helps to supplement with electrolytes so you don't feel dips in energy, muscle cramps, or headaches. You all can get a free sample pack with any purchase, and it includes this raw unflavored version in that sample pack by going to the URL shown on the screen, drinklmnt.com/SBGAL. And I've also linked it down below in the description box. If you guys are wondering what I'm going to do here on out, I'm definitely going to be continuing with playing around with fat fasting. And since Coach Raymond and Coach Emily will be teaching fat fasting every single week in December, I will also continue to fat fast, learn from the coaches, probably implement the schedules they'll be giving out week after week as well. And I'll be documenting my progress and sharing with you guys here on my channel. If you guys want to read more about the benefits of being in the Steak and Butter gang, you can go to sbgmeetup.com or click the links down below to join the upcoming 30-day carnivore challenge. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Again, if you want to stay up to date on my 100K giveaway details, how to enter the awesome prizes I'll be giving out, please do follow me on Instagram. I have lots of entertaining, concise, short tips and tricks content on my Instagram page. So I'm hopeful that you will enjoy everything that I post there too. And if you want to be a little bit more involved in what type of videos I post next, check me out on Nunu. I have a profile there just solely focused on asking you guys questions about what video I should film next, what topic I should focus on next, which guest or roundtables I should try to organize next. I have linked all of my profiles down below in the description box as well. I just have to show you guys what Simba is doing, and this is actually him anytime I film. So let me turn around the camera so you can see how adorable and sweet he is. My book, my props, my camera is in front right there, but I'm charging it, which is why I switched to my iPhone. But he is just always just a couple inches away. If he's not right under my feet as a footrest, he's just right there keeping me company. And as you can see, he is so deep asleep. Look at that little baby face. Oh, hi baby. Go to sleep, baby. You're a good boy. Again, I'm 4 years on the carnivore diet, and I've really tweaked and experimented with so many single variables and ingredients. And I always find that I come back to high-fat carnivore. I always find that I feel my absolute best, most efficient, happiest, calmest, optimal on high-fat carnivore. And it just so happens that it matched up perfectly with Dr. Elizabeth Bright's protocol of 1 stick of butter a day. I love you guys. Thank you again for 100,000 subscribers. You all are the best, and I appreciate your support and love so much. I'll see you in my next video.